I just feel above.
What you used to be.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about growth, and that's one of the things that when people are haters, what they try to do is lock you down to the old you.
Right.
They try to lock you down to you at your very worst. Yeah, man, you remember that shit in 2010?
Right.
When you said that fucked up thing when you were blacked out? That's you, bro. And you're like,
Right.
I don't even remember that. I was blacked out.
Right.
Like, what did I say? You tell me. You know, and someone can believe that they are their past.
Yeah, but we're not.
No, you're you.
Yeah.
You're you. And if
In
you
the
have not had
present.
fuck-ups, then you don't understand the consequences.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had a considerable amount of fuck-ups and a lot more
Big
than
time.
the average person in a public sense. There's a lot of people that have done a lot of fucked up things, but no one knows about it.
Yeah.
And the repercussions they feel, it's not the same as yours. You feel the repercussions of first of all, millions of people that loved you, that were disappointed, millions of people that were jealous of you. They're like, I fucking told you he was going to throw it all away. There's a lot of that, too.
Yeah.
A lot of people psyched that you fucked up.
It's far from throwing it all away. Sometimes I get people write me and say things like, "Oh, you ruined a great career," or like you. Like people have this mindset of that it's all over.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people saying that. People that I said that.
And it's like,
and I was like, you're crazy.
You're an idiot.
You're crazy. He hasn't thrown it away.
I haven't thrown it away. Right now, there's a pause going on. But as far as it being all over or whatever, it's just so far from being true.
Do you follow boxing?
A little bit.
A little bit. Do you know Bernard Hopkins' story?
No.
Bernard Hopkins, one of the greatest boxers of all time for sure. Bernard Hopkins went to jail. And he decided when he went to jail, when he was a young man, he decided that from that point on, he was going to be disciplined. And that there's no more bullshit in his life. No more robbery or assault or any of the shit that got him into the position where he's in. And then he was going to dedicate his life to being a world champion boxer. And from that point on, he became one of the most disciplined boxers ever. Never ate bad food, never drank, never did anything stupid, always was in shape. And will go down in history as one of the all-time greats. Guaranteed shoe-in Hall of Famer. And I feel like Bernard Hopkins was created by the darkest moment of him being arrested and him doing time in jail. And when he came out of that jail, one of the first things that one of the corrections officers said to him was, "You'll be back." And he used that as fuel. And he knew that, like, there's no fucking way I'm going to look at that dude again. There's no way. There's no way he's right. There's no way. And ultimately, Bernard Hopkins escaped his demons by facing them, by being in hell. By being in hell. I think he was in jail for, I forget how many years, but just enough to cement in his eyes, to harden him to the fact that what he needed was discipline and control over his own destiny.
Yeah.
And I think that for a guy like you can take all those dark moments that you've experienced over this, and fuck, man, you think about it, man. You got away pretty light. That girl could have died. You know, horrible things could have happened while you were drunk driving, when you slammed into that Bentley into the tree. All these terrible things could have gone wrong that you kind of got away with. If you wanted to think that someone's looking out for you, you've got all the evidence in the world that points to someone actually looking out for you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Something out there, whether it's luck or whether it's intention or whether it's God or whatever the fuck it is, man. The bottom line is, right now, at this moment, you are still in your athletic prime. You're still only 6 months away from a suspension. When is your suspension, George?
About 8 months, yeah.
8 months away from a suspension being released. And, I mean, this is all a great thing. How old are you now? You're 30?
29.
29?
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
July 19th.
So you'll be 30 when you come back.
I'll be 29 still when I come
It's your
back.
fucking athletic prime.
Yeah.
That's at your best. Really, your prime is like 32. Do you meditate, John?
I used to meditate a lot. Now I'm more big into visualization.
When did you used to meditate?
Right around 2010, 2011. I went through this huge spiritual thing where I became obsessed with the power of the mind. And I got into it deep, like really deep. Just meditation, visualization, and just realizing how powerful our minds actually are, like how we really do paint our world with our thoughts and our level of self-belief. And so right around 2010, I just took myself to this different mental level where I took myself from being an average Joe, kind of You probably hate the average Joe, huh?
Doesn't bother me.
I took myself. You're like, what's the average about?
I'm so used to that name. Such a goofy name. It's good. It's like a blank. It's like cardboard.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing to it.
Yeah. So I took myself from being very average-minded to actually believing that I was the shit, and believing that I could be the shit, and that I could be the GOAT and be the greatest and never lose. I took myself to a different place mentally, and a lot of it came from mental practice and meditation and visualization and just seeking knowledge from people who are strong believers, guys like Les Brown and Tony Robbins and guys like that. I just became really obsessed with just learning about the power of the mind. So I used to meditate. Now I just I have a lot of things that stuck with me, a lot of ways of believing that stuck with me that just subconsciously I know who I am, what I'm capable of, and how I believe, and how powerful my mind actually is.
I'm a firm believer in meditation because I believe that human beings can get caught up, especially someone involved in a very difficult endeavor like you are. You can get caught up in the momentum of your life, and sometimes it's very hard to reset. It's very hard to separate yourself from it and get a balanced and, as much as you can, objective perspective. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to take time where you sit and you close your eyes and you do nothing, and just concentrate on your breathing and just set it all aside and extract your consciousness from the momentum of your life. And I think a lot of people don't do that, and they get caught up in this hurricane of existence where everything is just constantly going on. Your phone won't stop ringing. There's fucking people knocking at your door. You got this going on, that going on. You got to go catch this flight, and oh shit, you got a fight coming up, and oh shit, you got this and that. And sometimes you lose yourself.
Yeah.
You lose yourself in that wave of life.
I definitely lost myself at one point in my life.
Listen, man, it's good to see you smile. It's
Thanks,
good to
Joe.
see you laugh. It's good to see you happy. It's good to see you optimistic about your future. And I think you got a great perspective right now. And I really hope you keep it together, man.
Oh,
I'm
I
a
will.
big fan
I will.
as a person,
Thanks,
as a
Joe.
fighter. I'm glad we did this.
I am too.
All right, brother.
You be
That's
good.
it, folks. We're done for today. See ya. Bye. John Jones!
Cover me, I'm reloading.
I'm here to prove that Purple Mattress blows memory foam out of the bedroom.
Only Purple passes the durability test, body heat test, and the all-new HED test, or human egg drop test for the layman. The best test to determine a mattress's comfort and support. Ready, Billy?
No, I just have to perfect.
Just look at how the Purple Smart Comfort Grid, made from a super comfy yet ultra supportive material called hyperelastic polymer, cradled those unfertilized chickies. And yeah, they're pretty real. Now, how about that memory foam? Take her up! Ready, Billy? Great. See, unlike memory foam, Purple's unique design cradles your pressure points and redistributes support to the rest of your body, leaving your spine properly aligned. So no more back pain, no matter your body type, sleeping position, or frequency of nightmare. Oh, gee! Especially the ones starring your boss.
So what does this mean? That Purple's comfortable?
Good boy, Billy.
Well, Jake, that was terrible form. More wrist.
Oh, Billy, can you clean this up, please?
Yeah. Did you know memory foam was developed in 1966? That's 10 years older than VHS. And what's crazier is the technology hasn't even changed. You're getting half-century-old technology with all of its problems. So many companies are desperate to call their mattresses high-tech, so they sandwich a little bit of tech into the memory foam. 98% memory foam is still 98% crap. That's a lot of crap you're sleeping on, brother. And sisters. You guys. Purple is the most durable comfort technology in scientific history. While the compact structure of memory foam breaks down and falls apart over time, Purple's proprietary material keeps shape and stays strong. No more lumpy mattresses and no more body impressions. Speaking of impressions, Memory foam has a big problem. It sleeps hot, and when exposed to body heat, it softens and loses support, causing you to sink faster than my hopes and dreams at senior prom. Or Blockbuster Video, those guys. I feel bad, but they made some mistakes in their hierarchy, and they just... Deep sleep requires low stimuli. Purple is temperature neutral. Its grid design and aerated sidewalls create serious airflow so your body heat doesn't affect your sleep. Stop looking for sleep in all the wrong places. Forget memory foam. These tests are real. You really can sleep cooler and more comfortably, all on a mattress that will outlive the family dog. And you can personalize your Purple with our many different comfort levels. Purple perfected the science of sound sleep. All you need to do is experience it. And you can for 100 nights with Purple's no-pressure guarantee. So go ahead, try the world's best mattress.
Hey, Jake.
Purple.
Purple.
He's fine. He does this a lot. This is his thing. Oh, they just kind of don't talk and just don't touch either. We gave him a don't talk, don't touch rule. Purple.
Purple.
We've taken the lead.
Got a publicist with you, huh?
No, dude, yeah, she didn't want me to do this without at least.
Definitely don't chew that on the air.
Okay.
Boom! We're live. People are gonna get mad at you chewing that on the air. They're hearing it right now. They're like, God damn it, John Jones!
Almost finished.
You had all this time. Almost finished. You gotta finish that fucking thing. That's an athlete. That's someone who works out a lot. There's imperatives, right? You gotta get that food in there.
Key.
It is key, but that's shit. What are you eating? What is that?
A pine bar thing?
That's all bullshit.
Oh, it is, but
Is that a good one? Is that ones with the 5 grams of sugar, or one of them caramel fake candy bar type jammies?
yeah, 5 grams of sugar, definitely. Yeah. A little closer to that.
John Jones, how you doing,
I'm
brother?
on the road, you know.
I understand. I gotta get you some stuff to bring with you, man. Bring some good ones. You ever fuck with that guy, Primal Kitchen? His stuff. He's got some great stuff. I'll give you some before you leave.
I'd love to try it.
Yeah. You're doing the number one thing that people get mad at on this podcast. When we do
Chewing?
Fight Companion podcasts, is chewing. People get furious.
So sorry.
There's something about being in someone's ear. Like, my daughter was in my ear last night, and she was chewing. She was trying to sit in my lap, and she was chewing in my ear. And I'm like, this should not be bothering me. Like, why is this bothering me? I was having an internal dialogue. I'm like, honey, you're eating in my ear. And to her, she's like, what do you give a fuck? So I'm eating in your ear. I'm your baby, you asshole. What do you give a shit?
How old's your kid?
This one that was on my lap was 6.
Oh,
That's my youngest. I have 3.
Oh, great.
I got a 20, I got an 8, and I got a 6.
20-year-old?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
How many you got?
I have 4.
Whoa, John Jones.
Yep. 8. I went 9, 8, 6, and 3. All girls.
It's crazy, right?
Yep. I want a son so bad.
Jeremy Stevens says it's the fighter's curse.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Badasses get all girls.
Mark Coleman, all girls.
Yep.
I think Don Fry's got all girls.
Yeah, I want a son. So there's a surgery that you can do. Where I guess they take my semen and they take out all the girl, like all the girl hormones or whatever, chromosomes, inject it into the wife, gives you like a 90-something% chance of getting a little boy.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Is that legit? Have you Googled it?
I've heard a lot about it. I haven't Googled it, but if it's a possibility, I think we're going in that direction for the next one.
Yeah, see, that's one of those things that I would Google. I would make sure that it's not some horse shit created by some dude who just wants to collect your sperm.
I feel like I think I heard Kanye did that to get a boy the second time.
Oh, yeah?
And Kim, yeah. I don't know. I'm obviously going to look into it extensively before even trying to go in that direction, but that's the plan. Hopefully it's real.
Wouldn't you think in some way, now I'm not really too much of a spiritual, well, I wouldn't say I'm spiritual, but I don't believe in, how do I phrase this? Would you worry that you would anger the gods by trying to fuck with DNA?
That's so funny. That's a great question. So I actually thought that, because obviously I'm a religious guy. I thought that my theory has always been God is going to give me a son when I am mature enough to raise a man, to teach a man how to be a man. So that was always my thing, and I felt like God was waiting for me to get married before giving me and my fiance this boy.
That's deep.
And yeah, that was my whole theory. I was just like, when I'm mature enough, and and when we're married, God feels like we're in this good place, He's gonna give us a boy. And then I'm thinking, well, if we have another girl, that trial and error is so expensive. That's 18 more years of raising another girl, So because me and my wife already have 3, I call her my wife, my fiance. She's pretty much my wife. We've been together forever. So I'm like, I don't want to risk.
But you think about it in terms of a financial risk?
I mean, I can afford to have 1,000 kids. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are you doing? People,
But
but that is something
it's
that
just-
like gets ingrained in your head. People always say that. Oh, the cost of raising kids.
Right,
And you start
right.
thinking about, man, the cost of raising
right.
kids.
It's more the time.
Yes.
That time that you got to put in. Like, you're raising another little girl, and it's all trial and error. So I'm thinking, let's just put a little science in there. And I feel like God gives people the intelligence to come up with these ideas and these different, surgeries or whatever to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, God gives someone the idea to be able to do this. So maybe he's okay with you choosing boy or girl.
Well, they didn't have the foresight when they were writing the Bible to take out genetic diversity testing or whatever the fuck they're doing. What would they be doing? Like some sort of DNA chromosomal jazz. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what the process is, but yeah. Well, people, I mean, wouldn't you say personally that like people who are religious, almost all of them sort of pick and choose what they decide to agree with and not agree with?
I
mean,
agree.
you're a religious person, but you have a tattoo.
Right.
You have a religious tattoo, which is
Right.
double ironic. Because
That's
it
funny.
says in the Bible not to get tattooed.
Right, not to mess with the temple. Right.
But then you gotta.
Pick and choose, right? What you want to listen to. Yeah. It's not the way it's supposed to go either, but, we're imperfect, and he knows that.
Do you think when you were talking about like wanting to wait until, or that God would give you this opportunity when you were more mature, when you were mature enough to raise a man? Do you think about that? Like, man, why do I have to wait? Like, why am I not mature enough right now? Like, if I can internalize that, and if I can understand that, like, what is the difference between me in the future when I am mature enough to have a man and me right now? Like, why have I not learned enough lessons? Why have I not balanced myself out enough?
I feel like I'm learning lessons every year, every month, every day. I feel like I'm growing as a person, as a man, but I know about some demons that I still struggle with. And I feel as if when I'm over those, I'll feel ready to be able to raise a man and teach a man how to be a proper man.
But you don't feel like you're over those yet.
No,
You're in the middle of it. You're in the struggle.
Yeah, definitely, kind of still in the struggle of some things, but I've definitely got over a lot of things that I used to struggle with, which I'm excited about. But life is it's a work in progress.
Well, you were telling me before the show that you don't do Instagram anymore. You're not doing anything. You're just sort of laying low. You're not doing any interviews. So, like, before you were about to do this, you're like, oh, shit, I haven't done anything like this in a while.
Yeah. The main reason why I decided to come on your show was I'm getting ready to do this grappling match against Dan Henderson on the 11th. And there's going to be a lot of media surrounding it. And there was a lot of, I got to do like a 1-hour phoner with a bunch of different media guys. And then there's a few reporters that's going to be there physically to do some interviews with me. And I feel like there's kind of just like a lot of things kind of untalked about, and people are just wondering how I'm feeling and what I've been up to and stuff like that. And I didn't want to have to answer the same exact questions over and over for 1,000 people. So I was just like, you know what, Joe Rogan has a lot of respect amongst the MMA community. His following goes obviously beyond the MMA community. He's a smart guy. And I was just like, I'd rather, let me just talk with Joe about kind of everything and get it out of the way. But yeah, outside of this interview with you, I have not really done anything publicly since July when UFC 200 was canceled.
You've been on a crazy ride, not just through July, but for the last couple of years. You've been involved in a lot of crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
What are you disappointed in yourself with a lot of this stuff?
Yeah, I am. I totally am. Yeah.
What does it feel like? Like, give me the thought. Like, we can go through all of them, but give me the thought. Like, probably the most I was disappointed in you, and I love you as a person. I think you're a great guy.
I love you too, Joe. Thanks.
I really do. I've always had a good time hanging out with you, but I was very disappointed with you with that car accident thing.
Yeah.
When you ran away from that car accident.
Yeah.
That to me was like, God damn, John's in a bad place.
Yeah, it was. I was in a bad place. It was a messed up situation, man. I was in a point in my life then when I was winning all these fights. I was the it boy in the UFC, sponsored by Nike and Gatorade, and you know, greatest of all time, finishing legends after legend after legend. Just really in this position where I felt so untouchable, and I just felt like everything was meant to go my way in that time of my life. Started to I was smoking pot, you know, majority of my career, drinking.
Me too. Shit, maybe 17.
Drinking, you know, every weekend, pretty much, you know, to the point of blacking out. Just
Blacking out.
yeah, just being hammered, you know, and just being a total party boy, but still training my butt off. You know, working really hard, believing really hard, had big goals, big dreams, but just being a party boy. And I think I just took everything that I had for granted because everything for the majority of my career has gone my way. And that morning I got in a car accident, man, it was a huge reality check. And it was, you know, I think in some people's mind they envision me, you know, hitting this car and running up and seeing that it was a pregnant lady and then taking off running. And then people said that I came back and grabbed a load of money, which is the stupidest thing ever. Why would a millionaire need to grab cash, right? Unless
Did you run back to the car?
So I literally, I went through a light. It was like a green light that said that I could turn left, but you're supposed to yield for the right of way, right? To turn left, and person came through, and I just assumed it was my green light to go, obviously being not completely clear-headed, and I ended up running into a car. I was definitely disoriented.
Disoriented from the accident?
From the accident, for sure. Just kind of like, what the hell just happened? It was a really big hit, but I was fine. I had no injuries, and I just felt like, well, maybe it wasn't that bad of a hit. So I literally, I step out of the car, and I realized, like seconds later, I realized my bull's in the car. So
your bowl,
my
weed.
bowl, my
Right.
pot bowl.
Pot.
Yeah, and I wasn't smoking weed in the car or anything like that.
But it was in the car.
But my bowl that had residue was in the car. So I opened my car door. I like take 2 steps away from the car, and then I go back to the car, and I like search the car because I had it in my cup holder. And when I hit, the bowl fell somewhere. Who knows where it flew to? But I knew shit. Like, if I can't find that bowl, that's gonna get me in trouble. Just having a bowl in my car. So I looked for like 2 seconds, couldn't find the bowl, and I just took off running.
Did you look at the other person in the other car?
No, I had no clue that it was a woman. I had no clue that it was a pregnant woman.
How much time are we talking about? Like from the time
literally
was
from the time that I hit, I was over a fence probably 8 seconds later. It was literally a super reactionary. Like I just felt I hadn't been home yet. I stayed at a friend's house. I wasn't drinking and driving. My decision was to sleep at my friend's house because I knew I couldn't drive home. He woke up early the next morning to go to work, and he's like, "John, feel free to stay here, and you can make yourself breakfast or whatever." And the guy has a family. He has a wife, and he has a newborn baby, and I didn't want to stay at his house while he's at work. So I was just like, "No, I think I'm okay." But really, I had maybe like 2 hours of sleep, and I didn't realize that I still wasn't ready to drive. So. I wake up and get in my car, and I just wasn't ready to drive or whatnot. But
why didn't you look at the other car?
Because it all happened so fast. So it all happened so fast, and I just knew I knew I smelled like alcohol, and I just felt like if the police came, it would be a bad situation for me, and I just thought the person that I hit had to have been okay, because I was totally okay. I was like, maybe this collision wasn't that hard. So I just feel like in a lot of people's minds, they see me as like, I knew it was this woman. I saw this woman hanging out the window crying and bleeding or something like that, and like I just chose to leave her. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what I hit. I didn't know if I hit a truck. I didn't know if I hit a punch bug. I didn't know what it was that I hit. I just knew it was another vehicle.
But you didn't even look.
No, I didn't look. No,
wow.
No clue. And I didn't go back for cash. But it doesn't make it doesn't make what I did okay. The fact that, you know, I didn't go back for cash and I really went back for my bull. That's no better, right? The whole situation was just a shitty situation. I was in a really bad point in my life, taking, like I said, everything for granted.
If you wanted to have a situation come up with just like worst case scenario, that is the worst case scenario. Pregnant woman.
Oh yeah, it makes me look like a monster.
Yeah.
It makes me look like a monster.
When you found out I was a pregnant woman, what was going through your mind?
I thought, man, I'm done. I'm done. First, I was afraid that there would be some type of problem for the baby, because, you know, obviously if she had a difficult pregnancy, then that's a whole different level of being in trouble. God forbid if she was to have a miscarriage. You know, I would imagine that would be a 1,000% put on me. So I thought about the fact that I went from just partying and enjoying this career and this amazing fairy tale life. I thought I was going from that to like literally being in jail, being labeled as a murderer. So that was my number one thing, was just hoping that the baby was okay.
What were you thinking about yourself? Like when you did that, when you ran, I mean, there's no way you could be happy with yourself that you did that.
I felt terrible.
What were you thinking?
Well, me and my mom have a great relationship. I'm a mama's boy. And then I'm the father of 4 daughters. So, you know, if anything, my respect for women is I have tremendous respect for women. And I try to, like, obviously, being a father, I try to.
Enemy Harriers incoming.
I just felt like a monster. I feel like a monster. You know what I mean? I just felt terrible. I felt really bad. I was mainly just concerned with this woman's health and safety, and I'm really glad that she ended up being okay. I felt really bad. I was just like, dude, even in the public's eyes, like, you just hurt a pregnant woman. Like, it doesn't really get worse than that. But yeah, you know, I had no clue. I had no clue that it was even a woman that I hit, and you know, I felt terrible.
And what was the reaction from your family and friends?
You know, surprisingly, it was okay. You know, they support me so much, and they love me so much, and they know that, you know, that I have a really, I believe I have a good heart. They know that I have a good heart, and they were just thinking, man, like.
Did anybody step in and say, "Hey, man, you gotta get your shit together"?
Oh, I've had a lot of people tell me I need to get my shit together.
And what was it about? Like, what besides that?
What do you mean?
Like, besides this one instance, what other things have people come to you and said,
that-
"Hey, John, you got to get your shit together"?
Well, kind of all of it. Everything that's happened over the last, you know, 2 years or whatnot, makes people feel like they can tell me that I need to get my shit together. I recently went outside to. My garbage man was coming up, and I was late getting one of the garbage out to the side of the road, so he waited for me. And he even told me, he was like, he was dumping my garbage, and he was like, "Hey man, like, I'm waiting to see you fight again. It's like, you really need to get it together." And I'm like, man, this dude's parked outside of my little mansion, pretty much telling me to get my shit together. Taking out like everybody feels like they have the right to tell me to get my shit together. And at the end of the day, you know, I sit there and I humbly take it, because
They're right.
yeah, they're right. But at the same time, you know how many motherfuckers there are in the world. You know what I mean? Like, so many people are into all types of crazy shit.
Yeah, but you can't compare yourself to the losers of the losers. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I
like,
mean?
You could
It's
say,
like,
"Hey, well, compared to dudes who like to go out and
who knows?
goats, I'm fine."
Exactly. Who knows what
Yeah.
weird shit this guy's in?
Right.
And he's telling me to get my shit together. It's like,
Well,
just because my shit's publicly don't mean you're any better than I am.
That's true, but you know what? That conflict is never ending, and you can't get involved in it. Like
Right.
that conflict that you're starting up in your own brain right now, it's a rationalization conflict. You start rationalizing your behavior versus, well, a lot of other people do worse. Well,
Right.
That is a dead end.
Well,
That's a bad road that a lot of people go down to make themselves feel better.
Right.
The only thing that can make you feel better is to be pure or to
And
be
to actually
clean
get
of
your
it.
shit together.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey man, you've been ripping off old ladies and stealing money from the church," I'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. That's not true at all." So if someone says something to you that's rude, that's not true, it doesn't have any impact on you.
Right.
But when someone says something to you that's rude but true, then you have to rationalize. Then you
Right.
have to go, well, what about you, man? Well, what's going on with your life? Maybe you're into some dark shit, you know?
Right.
That's a bad road, and
Right.
it's a defensive road. And as a fighter, it's a natural instinct. Somebody hits you want to hit them back. You know?
Right.
Somebody attacks you, you want, yeah, but what about your weaknesses? And you
Right.
want to try to search them out. And I'm sure a lot of people go through that when they read social media and they see these anonymous eggs on Twitter saying mean shit to you.
Right.
You start thinking, oh, I want to know who this fucking guy is and what's going on in his fucking life. That is a trap, man. That's a
Yeah.
trap.
Well, you know, like I said, I do respectfully take it. Like, I've never had someone say, "Hey, you know, get it together, John," and then I sit there and be like, "Oh, what?" You know, I
Right.
always, you know, thank you so much for caring. Thank you so much for, you know, rooting for me still, and I really appreciate it, and I'm working at it, and I seriously have been working on my personal life tremendously, and as of right now, I feel amazing. I feel better now today than I did when I was beating everybody's ass and, you know, sponsored by the world, and like I literally feel better today because I feel like I've conquered a lot of demons in my personal life.
So you feel better, meaning you feel more at peace? You feel more
at peace,
calm?
more at peace, you know, like not worried about social media all the time. Like that has brought a lot of peace to me. Not worried about what people are saying, not even worrying about what's going on in the UFC, like who has the belt or you know, just being Jonathan Jones and having my group of friends across the country who genuinely love me, focusing on my kids every day, you know, taking my girls to cheerleading practice, picking them up from school, dropping them off at school, basic stuff like me and my fiance, you know,
Just living life.
being on top of stuff. Yeah, being on top of stuff. You know, I'm in no debts. You know, everything's caught up. Everything's spot on. You know, things I wanted to get fixed around the house. You know, that paint chip is painted now. You know, everything's just everything's so put together right now in my life, outside of sports, and obviously having the clear mind, something that I haven't had in a long time. You know, I just feel really good right now. So, as far as, and then also being in a position where I don't really need to fight again either. You know what I mean? Financially.
But
you know?
don't you though in your mind?
Oh yeah, I have to fight because the story can't end like this.
Yeah, well, it's like the financial thing is beautiful and everything like that. It's wonderful that you're set for life and you can just kick back and your children will be taken care of and your wife will be taken care of. That's all beautiful. But you have a responsibility of greatness.
Yeah.
There's very few people that ever get to the position that you not just were in when you won the title, when you were the youngest ever UFC heavyweight or light heavyweight champion. Not just that, the youngest ever UFC champion. Not just that. There's also a responsibility that comes with potential.
Right.
It's not just like what you've done, and you know, it's what you could have done.
Right.
You fought Alexander Gustafsson. Be honest about that. How much did you train for that fight?
I trained for the fight, but I definitely I had this thing where I just felt invincible, and I did a lot of wild stuff leading up to the fight. I definitely didn't give it my all.
As far as partying and not sleeping right,
Mainly
and
partying,
drinking,
drinking, staying up all night.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you win a fight like that, where you weren't 100%, does that sort of almost reinforce this idea that you could do anything you want, and that, man, imagine if I trained next time, if it's someone big, I'll train. Like,
yeah. So I had this, I'm going to share something with, I'm not sure if I've ever shared this with anyone else before, but I had this crazy thing that I would do where I would party 1 week before every fight. And I did it throughout my whole career. And it's stupid, but it was this mental crutch that I had. I literally would, 1 week before every fight, I would go out and I would get blacked out wasted. And my logic was, if this guy were to beat me somehow, I can look myself in the mirror and say that, well, I lost because I got hammered the week before the fight. So
it was a built-in safety net.
It was a safety net. Yeah, exactly. So I did it my whole career. I would go out and get hammered 1 week before every fight.
Have you ever worked with a sports psychologist?
No, but now I don't. My my Open St. Preux fight was the first fight that I did not do that. It was my worst performance. So it's
I don't think it was your worst performance. I think you were very unjustly criticized for that fight because I think Oven St. Preux is a very tough guy. He's a very difficult fighter. He's very strong. He's got a brutal left kick.
Yeah.
He's athletic. He moves well.
I believe it was a good performance, but it was still my worst performance.
See, I think Oven St. Preux is a really tough guy, and it was a tough fight, and you hadn't fought in a long time. You were off for how long? How many months? 16 months or something?
Yeah, it was over a year. Yeah, it was a long time.
Over a
I
year.
had a lot of stuff going. Yeah,
And then you're fighting a guy who'd been pretty active and fought some good guys. Had a great victory over Shogun and looked real good in a lot of his fights and was an up-and-comer.
The main thing about Ovens that really bothered me was he was the most well, he was seasoned. He actually has been fighting longer than I have. A lot of people don't realize that, but he was just so green and raw still, like skill-wise. Like I don't. I study everybody extensively, and then I come up with their patterns. I figure out the way they flinch. I figure out their first favorite punch, their second favorite punch, their third, their favorite combinations, their setups to their takedowns, when they clinch, what side their head's going to be at. Literally everything. I know everything about every opponent. What side they're going to shoot, whether it's going to be a head inside, head outside. What am I going to do about that, you know? I figure out everything, why they shoot, what area of the cage they like to shoot, everything. With Oven St. Preux, he doesn't know what he's going to do. He's so unorthodox. You know, and he gets these random knockouts from these weird angles, and he just wings stuff, and he almost closes his eyes, and next thing you know, he's knocked somebody out, you know. So the scary thing about him was he's so unpredictable. And I had a lot on the line. So I just said, you know what? This guy is, he's in a shell pretty much the whole fight. He was defensive the whole fight. And I just thought I'd coast through the fight and not really risk anything, which felt like I let myself down because normally I would just, normally when you get someone like that, you just, you know, take them out. You know, I should have just been able to take them out, but I was content with winning, and I think that was one of the first fights where I actually just wanted to get the win, get my money, go back to my actual goal, which was DC. Instead of wanting to finish this guy like normal. So I had to really question myself on why I was like that, why I was content with coasting.
Well, that was a fight where that had the most pressure on you than any fight you've had before, as far as like people wanting to see how you respond to the adversity outside of the octagon.
Right. I agree. I had a lot of pressure, and I feel like I responded great to my adversity. You know, I did all the things I had to do to get back to the stage. You know, I handled all my probation obligations, and I stayed healthy. I started powerlifting. I hired a nutritionist. I looked better than ever. I felt better than ever physically. I did everything I had to do. I manned up and was responsible for my actions.
Yeah, was it Greg Jackson that thought that the powerlifting might have had a bit of an effect on your performance?